Hey y'all, it's Cam.
Hey y'all, it's Desinae.
Hey y'all, it's Jada.
Hey, it's Jay, and you're listening to 4 Deep, a podcast for 4 Black women and their 20-somethings who aren't afraid to get deep with it.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 4DeepPod, FOURDEEPPOD. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications.
I honestly thought I was gonna forget my part. That's why I started laughing. But don't forget, y'all, we want to hear what you think about our episodes. So make sure that you rate us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can also participate in our poll. Let us know something in our comments, YouTube, Instagram. Talk to us on Twitter. Actually, we be on Twitter, and it's not as live as we want it to be. So we want to hear from more from y'all on Twitter. And we on TikTok too. So let us know something.
Yeah.
All the platforms, period.
We be active. We be outside.
And for all the new listeners here, each week we do a rosebud and thorn, and the roses is a check-in to see what was good that happened in our past week. A bud is something that is happening and coming up that we're excited about, and a thorn is something that was a little bit and a little not so sweet in our past week. So who wants to go ahead and start this one on?
I could go. Okay, so a rose from this past week, me and Digi, who's my partner with Black Biz Flea Market, we tabled for the first time at the World Beat Center this weekend. They had an Earth Day event, and it was so nice. First of all, like, I'm so mad I'm just not figuring out about the World Beat Center. Like, it's such a great space. They have so many different events all the time, and so this was just, when you just have good energy and you just cultivate a space of love and all that, you can really tell that's what this space is just from the people who came to the event. The energy was great. We met so many people, had so many different conversations, met people from all around the world, the country, walking up like, how you get here? And so yeah, it was so cool just listening to people's different journeys and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a great time. Got some goodies. This one lady gave us a whole bunch of free stuff, so that was really nice. And yeah, so that was a really big rose that I could think of. A bud right now, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this hair of mine. We were talking earlier, and Cam brought up a good point of like, once you take your hair down, that in between you actually have to do something to it. I'm like, yeah, that's so true, because every time I take my hair down, every time I'm like, why did I do this? Why? And so I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. I ain't gonna take them down yet, but I gotta figure out what. And then a thorn. Oh, also another rose. We got a new plant, y'all. It's a mint plant sponsored by my job. I think it's growing. I don't know if that's a good grow or what, but it's a mint plant. Her name is Breezy. So
Okay.
we got 2 plants in the house now. But anyways, thorn. A thorn would definitely be this pile of clothes on my bed right now. Not anything too daunting from this past week. It was a really, really busy week. Oh, I know a thorn. The Earth Day event. It was yesterday on Sunday. I thought it was on Saturday. So Saturday, I get up early, get in the shower, get dressed, do my makeup, all that good stuff, whoop-de-whoop, get in the car. I'm finna stop by CVS before I head out. Text Digi like, hey, I'm on my way. She calls me. She goes, hey, are you in the car? I'm like, yeah. Like, what's up? What you need? She's like, girl, it's tomorrow. And so that morning, I just went to CVS and took my butt right back home. But luckily, my friend, roommate, Desinae, she was heading out when I came back. She was going to the mall. So I'm like, can I go with you? Because, like, I look too good. Like, I need to be outside.
Right.
I can't just sit now. And so the day actually went really well. We tried this hot pot spot at UTC Mall, and it was good. It was so spicy. I accidentally bit into a Thai chili pepper on accident. She didn't tell me it was a Thai chili pepper when she gave us the broth. But that's another story. But yes, that is my rosebud and thorn. That's how my time has been going lately. And yeah, That's what I got.
I think I can go
guess.
next.
Oh, yes, go.
Yeah,
Go.
you sure?
Yes, go. Yes.
Okay, bet. So my rose this week is that I got back one of my final grades. It was a project I mentioned in the last episode that I had like coming up in the next few days after we recorded. And it was a root canal, and I got 100% on it. And I did not expect to get 100%. I was shook.
100.
You better go ahead,
100.
dentist.
Yes.
Shoot.
And I was like, I really was so scared going in because like there were parts of it that I didn't get to practice. So I literally practiced the day before and was like, well, as long as I do this exact thing tomorrow, like I'm gonna be straight. And then, of course, I didn't. Had to do something. I had to make a problem. And so I'm like, oh, I just know she didn't take points off. But it wasn't like a critical error, because sometimes with these hands-on projects, like when you're doing a final like this, if you make one critical error, it's like you failed. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I didn't do a critical error. So, she's probably going to take points off, but it's fine. Like, I should be okay. But then when I saw it was 100, I was like, did she grade this right? Is the grade right? Like, I kept going back thinking the grade was going to change, but it hasn't changed. It's real. So yeah, that had me, I was on cloud 9 last week. Like nobody could tell me anything. My bud, I don't know what my bud would be. I think, actually, you know what my bud is we have a dental gala coming up the day after my last final. So that's like next Friday. And it's basically like we all get to get all dressed up and like wear dresses and everything. We have this like event and it's Great Gatsby themed. And I posted on my story that I got nominated for an award, like for preclinical student of the year. So fingers crossed that I win that. But I'm trying to figure out what to wear, because if I win, I have to
That part.
look good. So that's where I'm at. I need to find a dress, but finals is also kicking my butt, so that's my thorn. We start tomorrow, like with all my tests, so I'm really trying to find the time to find something to wear, because my backup option is just to wear the dress that I wore at my cousin's wedding. It's a cute dress. It's just like the color is like brown, so it's like giving more fall, and it's like I'm not really committed to wearing it, but it's there if I need to wear it. So yeah, my thorn, like I said, is finals. And actually, no, my real thorn is today when I got a notification from Ticketmaster saying that the Drake tour done switched all the dates up. They messed my whole plan up, y'all. They messed my whole plan up. Let me tell you, because I wanted to go to the Drake concert when he dropped tickets originally, but the dates that they had in like DC and New York and all the ones that I could get to easily were all during the times that I wasn't going to be here, because going on a family trip, and then I'm going to be working with my uncle this summer. So I was not going to be here for the month of July. So me and my friends settled on a date, and we were going to go to Atlanta July 1st. And it was about to be a real quick turnaround trip for me, because I was going to do this before my summer finals. I'm crazy, but I really wanted to do this. So we get this all set, and then they changed the date. Why did they move the July 1st concert to September 25th? That is a Monday. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing September 25th. I don't know if I'm going to have patience. I don't know if I'm going to be in class. I don't know what's going on. How am I supposed to go to Atlanta on a Monday? And so then I looked to see like all the way to Atlanta, and I said, what am I supposed to do? So I looked to see like, okay, what is happening July 1st? Columbus, Ohio. What is Columbus, Ohio? What is in Columbus? I'm not going to Columbus.
Drake.
So I'm really like, Aubrey really had me hot today. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Not the government.
No, because now I gotta, like, do I have to go to Toronto? Like, what do I have to do? So I don't know. We might go to this Miami date. We're trying to figure it out. We're gonna see. But yeah, that really made me so mad, because it also wasn't working out, because we also wanted to try and do Labor Day weekend, and that's in Vegas. But them tickets were expensive to fly to Vegas. It was like $700 round trip. Absolutely. So I was just like Drake. Drake, why would you do this?
That's so inconvenient. Like, so inconvenient.
Man, it's the worst.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm so sorry. Do they give you like an option to get your refund?
It's like
Refund.
change your ticket.
No, you can't
just
change it. You can refund and then rebuy your ticket. So we went ahead and got a refund anyway, since I'm like, there's just no way that I'm gonna be there on a Monday, because then I gotta come back on Tuesday. Like, I'm gonna miss 2 days of school.
Yeah.
So it's like, so we got
at
a
least you
refund.
didn't get your flight tickets. You didn't get your flight tickets yet?
We did, but we can get credit. So I mean, that part
okay.
isn't terrible, because it's not like I'm not gonna use it. Like, it'll get used eventually. But it's just like
that part.
Right.
We were so happy when we got those tickets. Like, I remember I was at school and I had like finished a test, and I texted my friend, like, I got out of the test early, like, I'm gonna be ready. So we was sitting up, iPad, computer, phone open, all my classmates watching, see if I'm gonna get tickets, acting a fool in the lounge. When I got the tickets, we didn't talk about 21. Can you do something for me? And now I'm embarrassed because you canceled my date. So I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to go. Drake, like, can you do something for me, please?
Oh my gosh. Now I'm embarrassed.
I swear.
Well, we'll be praying for the tickets.
Please.
Please, I need it.
Okay, I guess I'll go.
It'd be the stare down every time.
Every single time. So for a rose, actually I got a couple of roses. I finally went down and did like the office visit with my mentor Liz to go, like watch all the project managers and like shadow them for a day. They had just had a client come in for like the first time since before COVID. So I got to like really watch the whole, transaction and the way that they conduct business. And it was just a really great experience. Went to lunch with them after. And I actually got a chance to I basically got to talk about everything that we have going on. So I talked to them about BRB. I talked to them about 4D, and just seeing their reaction to everything that is going on. Like, everybody is really supportive of the shit that we're doing, that I'm doing, BRB, 4D, what we talking about. And basically just how we must be, very mature for our age group, because the things that we talk about now and all this type of stuff. So it was just super empowering, and just made me feel like, yeah, okay, I got, some little stuff under my belt that I'm doing that's right. Also went to a fight party. So Javante Davis won his fight against what's his name? Ryan Garcia. Yeah, I was going for Javante. So y'all know I was happy to the mug that he won. I really didn't want him to lose. But the fight party was fun, shots and all of that good stuff. So that was a really, really good time. And then yesterday I went to Universal Studios. So I really wanted to go see Super Mario World. I grew up on that. That's it was I felt like a kid in the candy store. Literally, I felt like a kid in the candy store. It was just so tight in there, the way everything was built. And I didn't get to do the little Bowser challenge or whatever, because it was a 2-hour wait, which I wasn't about to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my way back there sometime during a weekday, when ain't too many people there, because it was a Sunday. All the families is up there and everybody trying to get into Super Mario World. So it was a whole thing. But I'm gonna go back because I got the little pass. So really I'm gonna try to go early, be in and out, catch it real quick, and then be out of there. So those are my roses. And then for a bud, I guess really just getting ready for the Jamaica trip, less than a month away. About time to start shopping and finding some outfits, how that goes. Excited about that. And then another thing, I guess, is I decided, in terms of my career in project management, or not even that I decided, I discovered as I went on my office visit to do my shadowing and stuff for the project managers, that I should start by niching down. So now, project management is all the processes, so like initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. And I want to focus on like the planning and scheduling part of it. So I want to like niche down and like get that technical knowledge, like, and really get good at that. And then after scheduling, be a project manager. So that's like the most common transition, like a scheduler to a project manager. So I really been learning all of this scheduling stuff and doing these scheduling courses. And honestly, it's probably the most I've enjoyed studying the subject thus far. But maybe because I'm like real into like organizing and planning stuff out, using planners, all that type of stuff. So like scheduling is like, I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. And I get to do the kind of math that I actually like to do, not the kind of math that I've been running from.
Heard that.
So yeah, those are my thorns. And then, my buds, my thorns. I don't have any like big thorns. I really don't have any big thorns. I did eat a lot of sweets this weekend though, like a lot of sweets that I feel like I'm gonna have to account for later this week in my, I'm gonna have to account for those. But other than that, everything has been good. Yeah, just the sweets.
That's good.
Yeah. Did you get your passport yet?
Girl, no. It's coming though. No, for real, I could track it. The last time I tried to check its status, they couldn't give me a status yet, so I don't know. But I'm gonna check it again. You just reminded me. I'm gonna check it again after this and see what's going on. But push come to shove, they basically said that if my trip is in within 2 weeks, I just need to call them so that they can like super expedite it, which is kind of weird, like, because why y'all didn't just do that before? But I just waited out, and then 2 weeks before my trip, like the day of 2 weeks, then I'm gonna call them and make sure that it's gonna get here when I need it to get here. So it should be straight.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's see. I guess I'll start with a thorn, and then we gonna work our way back. Because my thorn turned into a bud, y'all. So okay, thorn, y'all already know, but listeners, listen, y'all been on this roller coaster with me about this darn position that I had. And I already told y'all I was feeling a little not secure. There we go. We're going to use that. And the job was just not jobbing, y'all. It was just not it. And I was really just working on my business stuff while I was there. Hey, I wasn't complaining about that part, but so they called me and my partner, right? And they're like, oh, like, can we meet with y'all? We're like, yeah, sure. My little extra behind, bring 2 pens, all excited, like trying to make a joke, trying to be cute. And it just was not working. Like the room was stale. So I was like, okay, like this is something odd. And then like they just get right to the chase and they lay both of us off right then and there. And I'm like, cute. But my God. Okay. So I came on here for a praise report because literally, y'all, the day that I got laid off, the day, your girl's Instagram jumped 120 followers. Okay. And yes. And since then, okay, so I started at 1160 that day. Today I'm at 1400. So
Shut up.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. God said, I'm going to show you that it is me and that you're supposed to be going all in. So let me tell y'all, I've been praying for God to reveal my purpose to me like every day and for me to walk fully in my purpose. And then that morning when I got laid off, I was like, God, today is your day. Like I released this to you. I'm like, you're the CEO of my business. I'm just an employee. Like you lead the ship. And he snatched me out that position. I promise you, I was literally smiling at my boss when he was firing me. And I was like, that's cool. Like, I'm about to just go do what I've been doing. You just not paying me for it. But it's cool because I can now like actually put my whole self into this without having like the anxiety of looking behind my shoulder every 2 seconds. Like, okay, somebody looking at my computer. So because y'all know I'll be posting on Instagram while I'm at my desk. But I've been feeling so good. Like TikTok has been growing. Now I'm at like 800 plus followers on there. Like literally everything has been through the roof. I've been getting so many messages about people wanting to work with me now. I got offers like, yo, like, and it's okay. Let me tell y'all the scripture that's been holding a girl down. So the scripture was, I don't even know it off the top of my head, like where it is actually, but I remember what it says. It says something about, like if I send you out without shoes or a purse or something like that, like you're not going to lack anything. So that one's been holding me down. Okay. Cause I'm like, God wouldn't give me this place. He wouldn't like do all these things just for me to fall. Like that don't make sense. So I'm like, no, I just need to continue to have faith. And literally also the night before this all happened, I recorded a YouTube video about faith and forgiveness. And I was really talking about like Peter and how, I think it's Peter. I hope it's Peter. About him walking on water with Jesus, right? And how he basically started sinking into the water once he took his eyes off God and started like fearing the storm that was coming. And so I even prayed that night too. I was like, God, like just help me keep my eyes on you. Like I just want to continue to keep my eyes on you. Give me faith and like strengthen me in that. And this was a test to my faith, but I promise you, like normal me back then me would have been crying, panicking, like freaking out. But no, I was like so peaceful. Like it was just an overwhelming sense of peace. And that's how I knew it was my God. I was like, I said, now I'm going all in. Now there's no excuses. So I just been like shouting from the rooftops, like, and Friday was my first day as a full-time entrepreneur officially. Yes. And so it's today. Yes. So I'm just like, I'm buzzing right now, y'all. I'm buzzing. So that's my thorn that turned into a bud. I mean, that turned into a rose. And another bud, well, I guess my bud, I actually got invited back to the BRC at UCSD to do a workshop in person when I go out there. So I'm going to be doing that. And I'm super excited because it's literally what I've been wanting to do for like college students and high school students. Like she took the words right out of my mouth, post-grad prep. So I'm like, okay, like this is another sign I need to like jump in on this too. And like actually go pitch myself to these colleges and these high schools without fear. Like, come on. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I'm super excited about it. And they even offered to pay you, girl. Because at first I was like, my mom, she asked me, yes. Because my mom, she was like, oh, are they offering to pay you? I said, no, and I don't care. Like, this is the WRC. Like, I don't care. Like, they the ones that helped me get where I am. So no, I don't want the money like that. But, after I got, I was like, okay, maybe this is what I should do. But they asked, I didn't like slide it in there. So that felt good too. Also just to be recognized for that, as like a real business and not somebody trying to like trying to get your services for the free for whatever, even though I would have been fine with it. But, so that's one bud. And then another bud is that I met with my old boss. And she's the owner of like a couple cafes out here. So I met up with her because she just had a grand opening for another cafe down the street. And we went to lunch and I was just like talking to her, telling her everything that happened. And she was telling me about this event that's coming up next Saturday that I have to get prepared for. I'm excited about that. It's called Pull Up and Pitch at Something in the Water. So it's a free event. I literally get to just go pull up.
Something in the water?
Yes.
At Something in the Water?
Yes.
That is so cool. For those who don't know, Something in the Water is like a major festival that be happening out here every year. Like
I was just about to ask.
Something in the Water is huge. It's by Pharrell.
That is so
Pharrell's
cool.
the one that like does it because he's from out
They be
there.
having like a market. They be having, at least last year when they had it out here, they had a market and it was open and there was so many people who just came, like didn't even have tickets. We just really was going. So you have so much opportunity. That is so much cool.
So I do work on that day, but I'm trying to get somebody to like cover part of the day so I can go and pull up and pitch. And there's 2 rounds to it. And it's like the ultimate top tier prize for winning round 2 is $20,000 in funding. So, and it's free to pull up and pitch. So I'm like, hey, even if I don't win anything, I'm pulling up pitching and somebody's going to hear about my business. So I'm really happy that she plugged me with that. She plugged me with so many different things. And like, I just been trying to meet people, network, That's why I'm doing my hair now, so I can actually go look some type of presentable to these folks. But I'm really excited because things have just been moving. I mean, God has just been moving since the day that I decided to give it all to him. And like, I'm just like, God, I'm just on this ride. This is you. Like, I'm just here. And I'm like, you know what? I could be scared. I could be nervous, but I'm not, because he's provided every single step of the way so far. So why get nervous now? Like, I'm just going to ask God to speak through me on pull up and pitch. And hey, you know, if you get a thumbs up, I think you get like $500 during the first round. And then if you win the second round, even the third place prize is $5,000. So I'm like, hey,
that works.
That works too.
Okay.
So I'm really,
like
I'm
this.
just buzzing, y'all. I'm buzzing. So yeah.
Yes, I love this for you.
Thanks.
Really a testimony. Why this whole time I was thinking, you know, why worry about a JOB when you got GOD? Okay. I just had to get that out. I just had to get it out.
That's
Put that on my wall somewhere.
Like,
that's a bar.
okay. Yes, like just the way it's the fact that you made that YouTube video that night before, and then you know the next morning, it was literally the perfect thing to have on your mind. And I guess speaking about it kind of was like, I mean, I know God knew, but it's like she gets it, she ready, you know. And so it was just perfect. And you know, I was telling you this the other day too, you know, sometimes God has to do things for us. Like, you know, you've been wanting to not be at this job, but like, of course, you know, you're like, well, I got bills to pay, whoop de whoop. But sometimes God's like, nah, bro, like you need to listen to me. But you know, sometimes we're a little stubborn, so he just got to do it for us. So he said, all right, let me just come on, this is what you need. Right, exactly.
And
even
nobody
for the,
knew. Nobody knew.
Yeah. And even for the paid position at the BRC, you know, you wasn't gonna say nothing, but they already offered it. And they're like, hey, so it's also too like, I was like, all right, you're not gonna ask. Let me just let them give it to you then. Like, you know, it's so crazy seeing like how things just play out, and how God really be looking out for us, even though, you know, the whole time we're staying humble or, you know, just moving, doing what we can. He really be looking out. So, you know, love that for you.
Yeah. God. Oh man, yeah, it's been a wild ride, and you know, I've just been in awe. Like today was just like a really emotional day in a good way, because I was just like, wow, like I'm really doing this. This is something I wanted to do. I went grocery shopping at 10 a.m. What? On a Monday. Okay. I said, I know that's right. I'm like, wow, this feels really, really good. So yeah, like you said, he knew that I was ready. And even if I didn't feel ready necessarily, because I was gonna stay there. I was definitely going to stay there. I was comfortable. I'm like, well, I'm making $25 an hour and it's not gonna get no better than this. And this is just what it is. Because I was really looking on Indeed, like, this is not it. I was not finding any positions that were gonna be paying me the same or higher. And also, I just had a feeling that I wasn't supposed to be putting in applications like that. Like, I don't know. I just had a feeling like, no, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Like, God is going to show up in some way. And I just had that feeling. I was like, all right. But like, I felt like low key a little crazy. Like, okay, you know they're going to fire you soon. Like, I knew that was coming. But I'm like, you know this. So like, why aren't you on top of it? Normally you would be. But I'm like, nah, I just felt like something else was happening. So I was like, all right, let me just not.
Wow.
Yeah. Y'all. Oof. My God. It is perfect transition into faith. That's what today's episode is about, y'all. So this was like really perfect. This was perfect.
Man, that is crazy. Just goes to show you your plans, God's plans. When you're in the right position, and when you put yourself in the right position, everything's gonna happen for you the way that it's supposed to every single time.
Yeah. I try not to even like think about things and like try to make sense of it, because you can't wrap your head around it. That's exactly what faith is. Like, it's beyond you.
I felt like you literally, wow. Because I always, like, for years now, like I've always had these moments throughout my day, throughout my week, whatever, where stuff just syncs up so perfectly. It can be a conversation I'm having with somebody else. It could be something that shows up, whatever, like And I'd be telling people now, I'd be like, yeah, at this point, it just, I just go with it. Like, I try not to overthink it. Like, it just be crazy how things like be lining up so perfectly. And yeah, I guess, that's what it is. That's really God, like, telling me, that you're on the right track, or, you're doing the right thing, or this is where you're supposed to be. This is who you're supposed to be talking to. This is what's supposed to be going on. And wow, like, now that I think about it, I'm like, he really been showing up. Like, I think it's yeah, because like everything can't be a coincidence now, like, for real. And so thinking about like all of that stuff, and just, yeah, I'm gonna now going forward, when those things happen, I'll just be a little bit more grateful and thankful to, when things start lining up, because it's insane. Like, I'll literally be talking to somebody about a thought I just had the other day, thinking to myself, and they'll bring it up like, oh, hey, I was thinking about doing this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, what? Like, what? How'd you know? So that is just so crazy. Like, my mind is going 1,000 miles per minute right now, because you literally took the words out of my mouth. I've been saying this, like, things just be happening. I'll just be like, wow, yeah, there it goes again, lining up. So I love that. Wow. So yeah, I guess there are coincidences, but nah, God be showing out, and he'll really show you like clearly, like, this is for you. If you want to ignore the signs, go ahead. But yes, and after, was it our last episode? We got off the phone and we asked everybody what we wanted each other to pray for each other for.
Oh, it was, I think, 2 episodes ago, but yeah.
Okay, but that, we must have been praying hard, because when you pray about something, God, he gonna show it to you real quick. He do not wait. He does not stall. He does not hesitate. And I'm like, sometimes you be like, you don't see that meme where it'd be like, God, give me a sign, and then it'd be like, well, luckily I can't read. But that I kind of want to be like that sometimes, but I'm like, nah, like, this is a sign I was asking for. He's telling me to go in this direction. This is relieving stress in this area in my life. And I'm just like, wow, like, we be showing up and showing out. Okay. So yeah, I think it's just really important to be tapped in. I think that's helped me a lot, just praying more, and, being more aware of God's presence. Throughout my days has really helped me like view things differently and just be more grateful. Like, even in my gratitude box, it was, when I wrote it on Sunday, it was really just like a prayer, like thanking God, like, thank you for this, because I'm just like, I just feel like that's what I need to get out. That's what I'm grateful for this week. This is how I'm feeling on this Sunday. Yeah, so it's been nice being more tapped in, being surrounded by people, who, really are connected with God and practice that and stuff. It's been helpful. So thanks y'all too. But it's keeping that community alive.
Okay, I do have a question for y'all. So in times of question, how do you keep faith? How do you get back to that place of being in faith rather than being in fear or in anxiety or whatever the case may be?
For me, it's like always relying on God's promises, because he's so faithful. And I always think back to like how he showed up in the past. So, and also just remember, it's really scripture, like, don't lean on your understanding, lean on his type thing. Like, he's not gonna leave you nor forsake you. And if God's for me, who can be against me, type stuff. Like, just like little affirmations and scriptures that like I say to myself, and just thinking back to the wonders that he's done in my life and other people's lives, and listening to other testimony videos. Oh, that does it for me too. Because I just see how he shows up for other people. So I'm like, why not me?
Yeah, I guess listening to your testimony for sure is like one of those for me, for sure. Every time you come up in here and you just be so lit up, and it's always, yeah, like God is moving mountains for me. And that is, yeah, just seeing that it can happen for other people. So why not you, type of thing. I do love that. And I do feel like, yeah, expressing gratitude is one of the best ways for me Like I try, that's like the main thing that I do try to do in my journal when I do journal. I try to journal every day, but to be a little more organic, I just, when it comes to mind, I'll just go ahead and do it. And it always just starts with the gratitude and just the simple, just the simple reminder that it could be worse. You know what I'm saying? It can be worse. And as long as I'm able, there really is nothing, nothing that he can't see me through. Or like as long as I'm able. I guess getting through certain things that you thought that you would never get through is like a very good motivating factor.
Yeah, I feel that being able to kind of like reflect back on those moments where you like, I'm in the middle of like a storm, or I just don't even know how I'm about to see through this situation, through this mess that I might be in, this mess that I might have put myself in, kind of thing. But then it's like when you look back at it, it's like God delivered me through it, and he'll do it again. So kind of touching on what Jada said, relying on his promises. I feel like for me, I have to like double down and get into like scriptures, and just, I think too, sometimes when I get in those places, I really have to like be conscious of everything like around me, the things that I'm listening to, the things that I'm watching, because I'm very vulnerable when I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what's going on, but like I need you to do something. I need you to do something. Like I know that I'm very vulnerable to like, lies from like the enemy trying to tell me that things that God has said or shown me, or even what his word said isn't true, even though I know that it is. So like for me, I have to be very like mindful of like my headspace and everything. So sometimes I might like when things get rough, that's when I realize like I fast more. And I know that can sometimes too can be problematic, because like I don't know if like y'all watch church often, but sometimes one of the things that like pastors will bring up is like you can't just run to God in the times that like things are low, or you're like questioning your faith, or you're trying to figure stuff out. But that doesn't mean don't run at all. I think that was one of the things too, where I'm like, oh, if I'm doing it, it's not real and God's gonna know. But it's like God sees me in this place, and he knows exactly why I'm here and how I'm gonna get out of it. So why not run to the person who's got the answers, one to the person who wants to, he wants, like, God will wipe every tear from your eye. I think it says like one of the scriptures talks about he collects every single tear that you cry, kind of thing. So it's like, this is a God that cares and loves you and has a plan for you. So ultimately, why not run to him and lean on him in those rough moments? So that's where I'll be at.
Yeah.
I guess I need to get up into that scripture, huh? I've never really, like, for real, I've never like studied the Bible, or like, I've never like really studied the Bible. Like I've gone to church, listened to sermons, but I've never just actually sat there and like, really studied any stories in the Bible.
The story, they will like change a lot of your perspective on life, because the stories are there for a reason. That's the one thing I do like about my church, is that they highlight the fact that these people are highlighted in the Bible and their tales are told through eternity for a reason. And to like really look at these stories. And right now in my church, we're going through a series called Legends Are Made in a Secret Place. And we're talking about like legends in eternity, and how like we kind of compare legends in like the physical world to legends that I guess they were here, but they're told through eternity. But we're going through that. And one thing, I'm looking at the notes now, one thing that I seen was basically just saying like, when you go to the secret place with God, like God looks at that and he looks at what you do during your quiet time, and like he hears your prayers and he sees like all he wants to do is spend time with you. And so when you're with him, they said that three things happen. They said one, that's when like he sets us apart. That's where I'm looking at my notes right now too. That's where discernment is imparted, and the secret place is when you know and become more like Jesus. So like the more that you learn about him, the more that you learn about yourself. And he just like really instills a lot of like his values and his desires and likes into you, which has honestly happened. And one thing that really like touched me when he was preaching yesterday was that, what did he say? He said something about like God sees your potential even if you don't. And I was like, don't say that right now. I was like, I need that. I'm like, because I really didn't see the potential in like what I was doing. Like I did, but I didn't have all the way like the full faith in it. And I'm like, wow, like God's seen that. And like one of the examples that they were saying was how these actors or singers kind of just get like scouted out, and they're just random people off the street, and they're like, oh, you could be this thing. And like they see their potential in them doing something real random, and then now they're this huge movie star. So he was saying like God sees that same potential in you. You could be literally doing nothing. And God's gonna be like, no, but I see a lot more in you and I could use you. And he usually does use people that you wouldn't think he would use. And he does that for for a reason, so that we can be like, why not me? And so like I'm just like finding out more about the way that God works, and he's so cool, and he has such a great sense of humor. Like his sense of humor is funny. And honestly, Desinae, you'd like the Bible because Jesus is gangster. Like he is funny. He's sarcastic too sometimes. Like he was like, because I think I forgot what scripture it was with. The guy was like, he was like, oh, if oh wait, like, can you do so and so? Like, if you can, and Jesus said, if you can, and like in my head, I'm like doing like the little uppercase, lowercase letters, like if you can. And I was cracking up. I was cracking up. Oh my goodness, I was cracking up. And one thing too that my pastor was preaching on the last series about like Jesus and his questions, because they said, Jesus is never afraid of our questions, but most times we're afraid of his questions. And one of the questions that he asked in the Bible is, do you believe? And that comes up a lot of times. Like he'll be like, according to your faith, this is done. Or do you believe that I can do this? Okay, you said yes. Now, according to your faith, this is done. So I'm just picking up through the different stories how faith truly is the way to please God. Like that is the way to like majority of his love, and not his love, but like his stuff. Like you really don't have to do anything to get his love, even though we don't deserve it. But but like honestly, like faith is, I think I heard this on like a different podcast, but they said like faith is the currency of the kingdom, and that's so true. And that's why I always try to make sure that I am building up my faith, because there's only a certain amount of times where he tells people in the Bible like, you have good faith, great faith. I mean, he said something like that, like great faith, and then he says you have little faith. So he'll like show the extremes of what great faith looks like and what little faith looks like. And I'm just kind of studying those, and I'm really trying to, get that compliment. Like I want God to look at me and be like, you have great faith. Like I'm going to do this for you because you believe that hard. Like, so that's really like what keeps me going, what keeps my, my drive to continue to have faith in God. And honestly, when things like this happen, like I'm like putting on my sweatband, I'm putting on my wrist, my little wrist cuffs. And I'm like, shoot, with my running shoes, like, let's go, like test my faith, God. Like we about to do this together. So I get excited about God testing me in that way, because I get to show him like what I'm made of and like what he can see in me too. And I kind of just get to live up to that.
I feel like that's a scripture too, isn't it? Talking about like be excited for like the trials or something like that, because it's about testing your faith. There, like it's literally, I can't think of the scripture. It's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna have to look it up.
I know, I'm trying to pull my phone, like, yeah, I'm sure there's something in there that speaks on that.
Yes. And whenever I'm praying too, I tell God, I like really try to not remind him, because obviously he knows, but I'm like, God, my faith does not make you real. Like you, because you are real, that's where my faith comes from. And like, I'm like, you're not Santa Claus. Like the more I believe, the more real you are. No, like you're real. And my faith is a result of like how you've been moving. So no, like, you're not created by my faith, Lord. Like not at all.
Wow, that's a good perspective too. I think because you can get confused with that too. Like, oh, like because I prayed, he was good. Like, no, babe, because you prayed, you actually seen what he been doing. It's not like, oh, he came to pop out because you were making noise. You just, because you were praying, you were practicing, getting closer to him and realizing, how he'd be working. And so, yeah, it's gonna be more clear to you what he's doing for you in the day to day. And yeah, I like that perspective, not thinking because of you, because of me, of what I'm doing, that's making God to be like, take it down a notch, relax. That's crazy. Yeah. I think also I really like definitely how y'all said what did y'all say? Dang, it was right on the tip of my tongue too. I knew what I was gonna say. But when it comes to like being, what did you ask? Like being tested or question, like when you question. Definitely when it comes down to it, I think I mentioned this a few episodes ago, is like, if I don't, have any control over it, or it's literally nothing I could do. Like, sometimes you pray, you're like, okay, I prayed about it, but it's not just gonna happen off a whim. I still have to do the work. But some stuff is like I literally have no control over the situation. And yes, the anxiety comes, which gets me to the point where I have to question, like, okay, like, what is this situation? Is this something that I'll pray about, and then I have to do 1, 2, and 3 to figure it out, or is this really something that I just have to pray about, period, and whatever happens happens. And it's definitely a little bit more difficult because you want to hold on, and you want to be able to control, and you want to know what's going to happen next, but a lot of times you can't, and it's really just a mental battle with yourself, or with myself, I should say, just telling myself like, you don't have any control, so why are you stressing? Like, the harder you stress, it's not going to fix anything, it's not going to change anything. So it's literally like, give it up to God. Like, they did that when they created that saying, like, you really just have to give it up to him and let it rock, see what happens, focus on the other stuff that's going on in your life, if you can. But that's what's really been helping me, because when I get anxious, or when I get stressed out about something, it's really physical, and so it just affects how my day is going, what I can do, what's on my mind, all of that. And so I'm like, I really need to figure out how to get this together, because I can't be letting this affect my day to day. We got things to do. But yeah, that has definitely been a big part of just how I do get over things that make me anxious, or things, I can't control. I remember the other night, like, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had a terrible dream. Like, I think that was the worst dream I done had thus far. And I don't even know why. Like, I don't know if it's because, sometimes say when you eat late or whatever, I don't know. But I remember I was trying to go back to sleep, and it was just like I could feel like another bad dream coming. I said, all right, God, please, I can't take this no more. And it's a dream. It's not like okay, I'm gonna think about this. Like, I close my eyes, and if this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I'm thinking about. So I'm like, I don't know what to do in this point, but I don't want that on my mind. I don't want to be thinking about that. I don't want to be dreaming about that. So I literally like prayed, and I was like, God, please help me get whatever that was trying to get in my head, get that away. I'm not trying to think about that. I'm not trying to see that. I just want to go to sleep. I want to sleep peacefully, and did. I had another dream. It was just weird. It was just like a regular dream. But I remember the next day I was just thinking about it, like, wow, like, that really helped. And it was a situation where I didn't have any control. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do the type of what you focus on, you control my dreams. I don't know how to do that. So I really felt like I was in a place of, I have no control in this moment, but I know I do not want this for me. And so I think that was really like an example of me just turning to him when I couldn't do anything else. And I love that for me. I'm glad that I even, thought to do that, instead of like, oh, well, just gotta stay up, let me turn on something that, may generate something else. That's what I turn to, or who I turn to. So I'm happy about that. I'm proud of myself for that, for sure. And that's just a small example of many other times, in life where, he be showing up, and I've turned to him when I don't know what else to do. And that's really been helping me get by. I would definitely say these past few months, that's been what has been helping me, especially take down the anxiety a few notches, take down the stress a few notches. So I'm happy about that, for sure.
Now look,
question for y'all. Oh, go ahead, Jada.
No, I was just gonna say one last thing about what she said. I was gonna say if he helped you with that small little thing about like a dream, Imagine what else he can do when you take.
Girl,
the
I
big
can
stuff
only
to him.
imagine. Like, just think, like, when you're, that's what it was when y'all were talking about, thinking of past situations. That's what be getting me through. I'd be like, the things, like, just keeping my family covered, keeping us, protected, getting me and my loved ones through things we thought we would never get through. That's another thing that I look back on. I'm just like, in the moment we thought it was the deep of the deep will never get out, and look at us, we're here, we're getting through it, and that's only because of him. And like Desinae said too, it could be worse. And I think that kind of mindset does help in situations too. It kind of helps you become just more grateful in a way, because you realize, like, it could have went this way, it could have done this way, and so it helps you see the blessings more and the silver lining in things more. And that's another thing too, like looking back at certain events that's happened in my lives, or my family, or my friends, and how it played out. Yeah, it was probably a bad situation, but it could have been worse. And so being grateful about that too, and seeing God in those situations too, like, wow, you was really showing up, because this really could have happened, weighing the odds and the different outcomes and circumstances. And so definitely looking back on those situations, it's just wild, because those be the big ones too, where it's like, wow, okay, if I could get through that, if he could show up through that, if he showed me, that we're gonna be okay through all of that, I'm good. This is nothing. Give me something else. What else? No, let me not say that. Let me knock on wood.
Yeah, all right, not too
would.
much. Not too much.
But like, not saying it towards him, like, give me something else, but just like, all these outwardly things, like,
Mhm.
nothing, nothing will break me with the relationship and bond that, that I got with God, and that me and my loved ones have with God. So we good. Life is not easy. It's difficult. It's not going to be an easy road getting through it, but, we will get through it. So I'm happy to, have that in my mind. It's definitely easier said than done to practice all that, but it's helpful. It is.
And I was gonna ask, how does being optimistic feel different to y'all than than having faith? Like, because a lot of things that we say are things that like people can say all the time. Like, Jay, how you said, for things that's out of your control, you can't stress about them. That could be something that's optimistic. Or like, thinking about how, you've gotten through past situations before, like that's optimistic. How does having faith or relying on God feel different than just looking for the positive in situations to kind of like reassure yourself that things are going to be okay?
That's a good question.
If it feels different, because sometimes it might not feel different. Sometimes, like, I got to work with what I got. Like Mariah Carey said, I'm going to do the best with what I got.
What I got.
I feel like optimism, and I'm only saying this because, like, since I've been like doing like scheduling and all that type of stuff, optimism is more so, I don't even want to say like calculated. Like faith is like, really into the unknown, like really like taking that leap, like just really having that deep faith. Like, I'm just gonna have to believe this just off the sake of knowing how good my God is. Whereas like, being optimistic, because like they use that term in like business. Right. They use that term in my business. It'll be like, oh, something is, if you feel like something is, really likely to happen, that's being optimistic. And if you feel like the worst case scenario is to happen, then that's being pessimistic. So, and optimism is based on, I don't know, calculated, like, I don't know, like, what's the best way to explain it, but like going just based off what you know from the situation, then you'll decide whether or not to be optimistic. You'll decide whether or not to be optimistic if the circumstances seem okay. Having faith is, believing that this can happen for me, even if the circumstances were not okay, or even if the math ain't mathing, even if it's not adding up, you still believe it's gonna be okay. And then being optimistic is like, well, I mean, the numbers they've been running okay so far, so let's just hope for the best. I feel like that's more so giving like optimism, where it's like, we down bad, but we still finna shoot for the stars. Like, that's faith, right? That's faith.
Yeah.
Like,
I like how you put that.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
A+ answer right there.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Thanks, y'all.
facts.
Thanks. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about it much differently. Thinking about my faith differently too. Like, can I really say I have faith if I don't know, if I'm going based on, or like basically like what is my faith based off of? Like, is it really like deeply rooted inside of my beliefs, or is it just rooted off of me feeling like this is adding up, or me feeling like the math is mathing at that particular time? So that's like, you know, having faith is just much deeper than that. Like, the math ain't mathing, this ain't doing that, that's not doing what it's supposed to do, but you still got to believe.
Mhm.
And that's faith.
And truly
True.
believing it too, not just like, oh, if I say something's good, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Like, truly believing that, you saying even through all of this that's going on, something good is gonna come from it, and truly believing that God really has your back and God can make that happen and God will make that happen. That's also I feel like the difference between being optimistic and having real faith. And like you said, like checking yourself about that too, asking myself like, okay, in this situation, do I really believe that? And if I don't, how do I get to that point? I need to get there. Or why don't I really believe that? Why am I just, saying it because I think, it may happen, so
That's true.
yeah.
There is like a turning point where it's like, okay, now you got to go into faith mode. Like, optimism is no longer here. Like, that's all you can rely on. And it is more like about the outcome when you look at it, because like Jay was saying, like with faith, you believe it's going to happen. Like, that's the outcome. There's no other outcome but that one that you're believing for. But with optimism, it's kind of like it can go both ways, but I'm like Desinae said, I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna hope for the positive one. But no, like faith is like, no, it's going to go left, or it's going to go right or up, whatever. But, so I think that also is the difference, is like how you're perceiving the outcome to be. Cause you got to make sure that it's strong. But dang, that was a good question. Yeah, what you think?
That was a good question.
For me, I don't even know what made me think of the question, but my answer to the question, I wish I could remember, because I'm not somebody who is always like, every time I read the Bible, it's like taking notes and like super deep into my word. I want to get to that place, but sometimes it's like, I know I got my Bible plan set up and this is what I'm reading. So I'm reading and I make sure I'm reading for the day, and then that's it. And then some days I really have time to like get into it and find more scriptures that kind of relate to what it is, if I'm really feeling whatever it is that I was reading. And so one of those moments, it was talking about faith, and they were explaining that like the key word of it was basically like sometimes in the Bible you can have like Greek or Hebrew translations. And so they were saying that the word in Greek, the root of it, was basically saying that faith isn't like something that you just like have or possess, or you choose or you don't choose, or it's like you have faith or you don't. It's like something that, it's like a place that you're in. Faith is like a physical place that like you have to stay in. And so it kind of touches on how, like Desinae, you were saying optimism is kind of like you can choose to be optimistic, with faith at the same time, like while you choose to be like you have it, it's like you're in it. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, and I wish like I could fully remember what it was that I read, and I should have looked at it before we got on here. But it really was like a revelation for me, because it was just like, okay, this made me think about faith completely different. It's not about just, okay, I don't see it, but I'm believing it until I do. It's like I'm staying in this physical place. And it's almost like also looking at it as like when you pray, you're physically like in a place where you're like communing with God. Faith is also a way to bring you back in that place as well too. So that's what I think the difference comes into play. I think optimism, kind of like we also mentioned this a little bit too, like optimism can lead to your faith. It's like at certain points you gotta realize, the good thoughts and the positive thinking can only carry you so far. At other points, you got to step and realize, like, all right, I got to get serious about it. Like, it's time to get into my faith bag,
Right.
because this is where we at right now.
See, and I love that you brought up, it being actually like a place. Because like I be reading, like a bunch of like self-help books, and like when they talk about like in faith, they always ask like, are you moving from a place of fear? Are you moving from a place of anxiety, or are you moving from a place of faith? And then that'll kind of just determine the way that will go. Like literally, if you're moving moving from a place of fear rather than faith, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna fail, type of thing. If you're moving from a place of anxiety rather than faith, it's gonna fail. So now it kind of just makes me think a little bit differently about when I choose to do something, when I decide to, finally pursue that goal or pursue that, why am I moving that way? Like, am I moving from a place of fear? Like, oh, I'm doing this because I need money, or because I'm not so sure about what's going to happen in the next few months, or because this is that? Or am I doing it because I know that this is what God wants me to do? Or because, I have faith that this is the path that God wants me to go on, and that this is the path that's going to, bring me the most abundance, or whatever the case may be. Just looking at it now differently, like, yeah, really, like from a place, like what place am I in right now? And is it a good time for me to take a leap? Like, am I in a place of fear? Should I be taking this leap if that's where I'm at? If I'm not in a place of faith, or when I am in a place of faith, like when I know I'm in that place, then it'll be good for you to go ahead and take whatever leap that you've been thinking about taking but haven't been so far. So I don't know.
That's a good point.
Really thinking about it differently.
Yeah, like faith is physical. Everything else kind of like a mindset. It's an emotion, it's fleeting, but faith is physical. I like that.
All right, y'all. I done broke out the Bible. And for all the listeners, this is the NIV version, not King James, because listen, I don't have the time right now for they, thou, and all that. I just don't.
Sorry to King James, whoever the man is.
But here's scripture for the definition of what faith is. This is Hebrew 11:1. It says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for, pause, and assurance, pause, about what we do not see, pause. So when I was breaking this down in the video that I seen, I said, what? Because I just took notes and put like scriptures up there and like kind of forgot about it, and then went back to the video and was like breaking down the scriptures, and I was like, this is wild. But I'm like, faith is confidence in what we hope for. Literally, like that's what we're all saying. Like confidence in what we hope is like, no, yeah, we're hoping, but no, we got confidence in that. Like,
like
strong confidence. And then
Real
he said
confidence.
assurance about what we do not see. That is like, cream of the crap. Like that's perfect right there. And then going down, it says, by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. And I said, wow. And then one more for y'all is Mark 11:22. It says, have faith in God. Jesus answered, truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in their heart, but believes, aka has faith, that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe, aka have faith, that you have received it, and it will be yours. And what really stood out to me was the fact that he said, believe that you have received it. That's in the past tense. He already put it in the past. He said received it. So whenever you are praying, like the number one way to display the faith is to be in thanksgiving. Like thank him for what you're praying for, because then that's when you're going to have confidence in what you're hoping for, and assurance in what you do not see. Okay. Like
I want to write this down right now.
Girl, I'm trying to tell y'all, look, Mark 11:22, okay, through 26 for all the listeners.
I love that. Because when you were saying like believing, like you have to believe that it's already yours. Like that was a mindset, that I know, like, even if it's me or it's my friends, it's like, oh, I have the job interview coming up. I hope I get it. Or, oh, this is coming up. You got to be like, it's already yours. It's already mine. I already got it. But I was missing the aspect of thanking God for it already. Like, it's already mine. So let me be thankful for that. And so showing him that, I am confident that I do believe that this is happening. And not only do I believe this is happening, I'm thankful for it. And I know it's him that's doing it or has done it.
Right.
And I want to thank him for it. And I need to express that.
Come on, Jay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I was missing that. And so I'm glad to hear that, because now I can, make sure I'm doing that as well. Because a lot of times it be stuff like that too. You don't, after interview is done, it's done. So you have to, even before you even go into the interview, what happens in there happens, and like you just said, you have to go in there believing that it's already yours and having faith that, this is for you. And from what we were talking about before, about faith and optimism, and kind of like, you have to believe that what you want is going to happen, but sometimes you don't even know like what you want, or like say you're down bad, you don't even know what path to take, you don't even know what to hope for,
Right.
And so it's just a sense of, and I was writing it down because I want to bring this back up, but because I was gonna pose it as a question, but as I was writing it down, I'm like, it's not really about knowing what to want or knowing what you want to come for you. It's just knowing that what's best for you is coming. You don't have to know what it is. You don't have to have an idea of, oh, okay, I know that this will be good for me. This will be good for me. So I have to believe that that's going to happen. Because sometimes you're really in a situation where you don't know. But faith is, like being confident in the fact that, what's best for you is going to happen. So just be confident in that. Just know that that's going to happen. Just believe that that's going to happen.
Right.
And so after, having that conversation, I'm like, okay, I'm processing this. Like, as y'all are talking, it's just, going, turn it. Right. So I'm learning, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. Because, it gets you thinking about the things that you didn't even know that you need to think about, or, you reading that scripture is helping me realize things that I probably wouldn't even know where to start in the Bible to help me, find that answer. And so I'm glad that you shared that you got up, got your Bible and said, no, let me share something with this, because it was really helpful. So I appreciate that.
Of course. And this also reminds me of that one sermon by Pastor Michael Todd. I know he a little on the fence, y'all. I know we a little iffy sometimes with him, especially after hearing about ransom. I'm not gonna go there. But but yeah, so he was saying something about how, like, in the heavens, like they probably already got technology not probably, they do have technology that's like light years ahead. And then it's being like released and dropped down to us as ideas. And so he's saying like things that's up there, he kind of related it to like how Apple's like headquarters has the technology before it's even released to us. He's saying like heaven has like all the ideas, everything that's going to happen, like all that before we even get the little seed form of an idea of it. So that really pairs up with what you're saying, Jay, like what's going to be coming for you is going to be good for you. And most times we don't know what's best for us. That's just the honest truth. Like most times we really don't. We think so, but we really don't. That's because we don't see the full picture. But it's more or less like just realizing that it's already done up there. It just has to make its way down here. And like realizing that is wild. It just takes me outside of myself, and I'm like, all right, God, just go ahead and drop it down, because I know you already got it. So just sit it all down here. What you gonna take, like 3 business days? Like, nah, but honestly, that reminding me of that helps a lot when it comes down to it, because I'm like, look, you already got the clients for me. They just have to come my way now. And I just have to do the work, to meet you halfway and actually, get there. But like I don't even have to worry about it. At first I was like these thoughts about like, okay, well, how's rent going to be paid next month? Like I got to replace a whole $4,000 a month worth of income. Like, how am I going to do that? Like, I'm like thinking, I'm like, I got to get this many clients. I got to do this many speaking engagements. I got to sell this many planners. I'm over here trying to calculate and I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm like, Jada, stop yourself. I said, slow down, because this is what you operated outside of faith. I'm like, because right now you're trying to make it add up, and it's just, he's going to do it in a way that it's not going to add up. Even the same thing with this place. I kept riding past it every day, and I'm just like, look at my place. All cute. And I still, y'all already know the situation with that. 8 late payments from my roommate last time. How was I going to get approved? Don't know. But I said, God, I give this up to you. Y'all prayed for me too. Everything worked out perfectly. And I didn't even have to say anything. And the girl was apologetic, trying to help me out. So I was like, you know what, God, I already know that you're working. I already know that you got things going on. Let me just kick my little feet up. And he wants us to rest. Like, he wants us to rest. And there's rest so much in the Bible. Like, there's so many different scriptures about rest. And that's the thing. Like, we always feel like we have to be moving and grooving to make sure that the next thing does get done. But it's like, no, he wants us to rest in him so that he can work and he can show off and he can do his best. And so, like, I really had to chill out when I first got laid off, because at first I was like, okay, I need to kick it in high gear. I need to do this. I need to get, like, I need to just go for it. But I'm like, no, take some time and just sit in his presence and just see what he wants you to do before you just start moving. And then you can, really like get the full effect of what's happening. So I had to really like lean in that and like rest in him and rest in my faith in order to really be all the way at peace. And I've never felt any type of bad or ill will for longer than like 10 seconds. The only bad I felt was for the other person that got laid off with me, because I was like, girl, I know you probably going through it, but I am feeling good. Like, and I felt bad. I was like, I feel bad that I feel this good about this. I was like, because I know I'm straight. Like, I know I'm cooling. Like, I didn't even got a trip at all. I'm like, so I really feel bad, because like, I don't know if you're tripping over there or not. Like, I hope not, but I know I'm not. So I kind of felt a little guilty about it. But I was like, no, like, I'll be with God. And that's a cool thing to be able to like say like, oh, I'm close with God, and like I know God and God knows me. Like that's dope. That's dope. Because there's a scripture about that, and it's just like, oh, everybody that calls Lord, Lord, save me is not gonna, be what they think most of the time. And when I read that, I was like, dang. I was like, that put it into perspective. I'm like, yeah, you really got to have faith and really believe and really show him. And it's like, it's mainly about faith. Like, do you believe? And that question, like y'all said, like it always pops into my head. Like, how in this are you? Like, do you really believe this with your full heart, or are you reserving a little bit of doubt for in case it doesn't come through? Like, like it's just, I have to really check that. So, it's a game, y'all. It's not a game, but it
makes you think sometimes your doubt is like you still trying to exercise your own little bit of self-control in the situation. Like, okay, but let me just do this real quick, like just in case, or like, I gotta have a backup plan. I gotta have things set up. Sometimes that doubt, you just gotta watch. Like, am I trying to do too much in the area where I just said, all right, I'm gonna take my hands off of it and let God do what he do.
Right. Because I was trying to apply for unemployment. Didn't even go through. It said, sorry. I got all the way to the end. It was like, you have to call so-and-so. I said, God, all right. I said, so you really want me to just rely on you? You got it. Like, you got it. Okay. I was like, you got it, man. You got it.
Man, it really be like that.
Don't get in the way of your faith. Don't block your blessings.
Like, all right, fine.
Yeah. I was like, of course.
Yeah. That, what you were saying about rest, I needed that for sure, because I've definitely been in like a run with like Black Beauty Near You. Like, I have so many ideas, but it's just like I feel like, nothing is really hitting. Like, before, I like sometimes I would just know what to put. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna do this. This seems right, blah blah blah. But I'm just like, like, I don't know, like it could, but I'm just kind of in that I don't know space. But I do remember telling myself like, okay, after this rebrand, like, we're taking a break. Like, y'all not gonna see me, because that was a lot. And I forgot about that. And you saying that reminded me that, you know, I told myself that, because that was a lot of energy. We were rebranded since freaking December. I
Yeah.
launched it last month. It hasn't probably even been a month since, or almost that. And yeah, relax. Take a chill pill. It's okay.
Yeah.
And like, in just realizing that too, I'm like, okay, well, what's the difference between, you know, sitting back and doing nothing and working towards, you know, what's for you? And you know, I'm just trying to think, like, maybe, you know, it's just about, you know, what feels right, you know, what you have the energy for, what I have the energy for, what, you know, really just what feels right, like, just simple, down to the point, like, okay, I don't think posting today would make sense, I don't think it would feel good, like, I'm not doing that, or I don't think doing this would make sense. But still, like how I went to the Earth Day event yesterday, if there was an opportunity that came up where I'm like, oh, this is perfect, or I think I should say something about, you know, Black beauty near you, or I think I should say something about somebody I know, I didn't hesitate to do that. I still did that. Where in another situation where if I really was just like, I'm not doing nothing, I could have just sat back and be like, oh, okay, interesting, that's cool. And that could have been that. So kind of finding that balance of still, you know, giving myself grace, and listening to God, and kind of like listening to how I feel and what, you know, is truly supposed to be happening, but also not neglecting, you know, what's for me and what comes to me, or what I say, what, you know, God is sending to me, like those signs that I be talking about, like, this person is in your face for a reason, talking about this, they came here for a reason, and taking advantage of those moments. So yeah, finding the balance between that, but all in all, taking a chill pill, like, for real. For real, the real kind, not the fake little chill pill, like really relax. And so yeah, that really just reminded me of that, and just thinking like, girl, it hasn't even been a month since that launch. Like, you need to, it's okay to relax and just do your day to day, focus on things that make you happy, and that, you know, elevate your mood. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to start doing, you know, more of that. I guess that can be my bud. Not even just for the week, my bud for, you know, however long. Just trying to be in that space more and relaxing, and not trying to be a super overdoer, always gotta be doing something and moving type.
Yeah. I would say pray to God about anything too. Like, I'll be like, God, please help me rest. Like, I know this is what
Yeah.
you said. Like, help me to do that. I always
Yeah.
pray and ask God to like help me be obedient in the things that He wants me to do. I'm like, show me what you want me to do today. Show me what you don't want me to do today, and give me the obedience to do what you want me to do, and give me the discernment to know what's not right for me today. And I just really try to pray that every day to make sure that like He's leading, He's guiding, and I have my ears, eyes open, my heart, my mind, everything open to receive that and to discern. So, yeah, if you feel like you got a little issue with chilling, girl, trust me, I
Yeah.
get you. I got this. I would just pray about it. He'll
Yeah.
sit you down. He'll sit
Yeah,
you down.
that's really helpful, because I think lately, well, I've been praying for peace for one, but also guidance. But I think the way that I was seeing it too is like, help me figure out what I need to be doing right now, like, da, 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 da. And I think this is the moment, like, he's telling me, no, you don't need to be like physically doing anything. You need to be taking a break. That's where I'm going to guide you to, you know, take some more time for yourself to chill. And so yeah, I definitely be doing that. And like you said, praying about like, okay, today, like, I want to go in the direction I'm supposed to be going, that you want me to go. So help me do that. And you know, doing all that. So yeah, that's a really helpful. I'll be doing that. I need that. I need all that. So yeah.
And I think rest too is good in a way that it's like you're finally not moving, so you can open yourself up to hear like other things you may not have even considered, because it was like you was running around trying to figure out X, Y, and Z, or just filling your time up with like other things that you didn't need to be doing. finding rest is a great way to find like clarity and understand like the vision for everything. I think that's one thing that I pray about for a lot is vision. Like I want to be able to see bigger than just what's in front of me at times, because that's, for me, sometimes can be very self-limiting. Like when I think about in terms of like my career, one of the things that I'm really worried about right now is making sure that I'm making the best connections with all of the, faculty and instructors that I have, because I'm like, in a year's time, I'm going to need to be applying for residencies, or I'm going to need X, Y, and Z. Like I need to have good relationships with these instructors. But it's like, I'd be so like stressed out on like, okay, I need to introduce myself to this person and make sure this person knows me, make sure it's like, I really have to like, sit back, think about the professors who I didn't have to seek out, who noticed me out of my classmates, who see something in me. So that my prayer with them was like, God, help me grow those relationships instead of being focused on trying to have 10, because it's better to have 5 quality than 10, what I mean? People who don't really know you, they just know a name and they just see you around and they know that you talk too much, you in everybody's face. Like, what is it that you're giving? So I'm like, God, help me see kind of like the vision, because me right now, everything's not good enough. I'm not involved enough. I'm not, doing X, Y, and Z enough. And it's about finding rest, but also understanding the vision. And for me, it's like, I have to make sure that I set myself some time to go seek God's vision too, and ask and pray. And sometimes too, it's like, you be praying and it's like, okay, hello. Like, what's the answer? Like, is there anybody there? Like, where's the sign? And sometimes that's a thing I get caught up on too. Like, am I hearing from God? Am I getting what it is that I'm needing, what I'm looking for? And eventually it does come, that validation, like, yeah, this is right. This feels right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Or this is the answer that I was looking for. But until I get that, sometimes I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'm just looking too hard. Maybe I just need to chill. Maybe I just need to like just be here for a second and just keep operating in faith, kind of just reminding myself to go back in that place. Like, am I in a place of faith? Am I in a place of understanding and believing that I'm going to receive everything that I'm asking for? But it's just God's waiting for me to get to that place, for me to receive it, for him to reveal it, for him to give it,
True. Because he probably did send a sign maybe, and we might have left it. And my church, they also said, my pastor, he said, sometimes we're looking for a sign when we really need to be looking for a scripture. And I was like, yeah, that one bit me.
That reminds me. I heard somebody say that. One of our listeners one day, I think it was Des, were you asking who listens to podcasts? Like to give podcasts regular? Okay, so when you did that, somebody recommended the Jackie Hill Perry podcast, and I was like, oh my God, I listened to that.
I love
so
that.
She actually talked about in one of her episodes, it was an episode that really it was my favorite episode ever. But when she was talking, she was basically saying that like, how can you know what God is telling you or what God is going to do when you don't know like how he moves, how he operates, because you don't read your scriptures? Like God establishes a pattern for like how he moves and how he operates and what he does. And, if you just look to your scripture, sometimes, like you said, Jada, you looking for an answer, you looking for a sign, when all you needed was that scripture to confirm, like, okay, this is what it is. Or this is what I already knew, and I was trying to tell myself it was going to be something different. I think that's where I'm at all the time. It's like, okay, this is what I knew, but I didn't want it to be that. But I was just hoping it could still kind of be that. Like, we can't meet in the middle. Like, we can't meet in the middle, be a little bit of me and a little bit of you, and it be so. But that's really,
yeah, that's good. I was gonna ask, like, because I know I say all the time, like, but like, how do y'all really feel like God speaks to you? Because I know God can speak through other people, through scripture, through like numbers, signs. Like, God can speak through a lot of different things. Even animals, like that's in the Bible too a lot. Like, what is the number one way that y'all feel like God really speaks to you? Sometimes it's audible too, which I don't think I've ever heard that.
I feel like mine are like definitely through answers. Like for me, it's not like a numbers thing, or like, it'll be like, I'm trying to think how do I explain it. Like, it'll be like, I want to start something, like I want to start doing something. Okay, no, this is actually a perfect example. I said that I wanted to start getting into YouTube and like things like that. And, I was just, asking God, like, is that something that I really need to be, focusing my energy on right now? I could use my money elsewhere instead of like getting equipment for YouTube and like all this type of stuff. And so like really my big thing was like, damn, should I spend this money and get this camera? Or should I not spend this money and get this camera? Like, what should I do type of thing? And then I didn't even, ask my boyfriend for this. But then like, I don't know. Was it Valentine's Day? It might have been Valentine. No, was it Valentine's
I think it was
Day?
Christmas.
I don't know. It was Sunday. Maybe it was Christmas. Yeah, it was Christmas. And he had got me a camera. And I didn't ask him for it. I didn't, it just popped up and I said, well, dang, now I don't have to spend this money on no camera. Just like stuff like that. Like it'll be like very explicit. Like when I ask him for something, it'll just, the opportunity will present itself to me. And so, yeah, for me, it hasn't really been like numbers or like, a lot of people do like, 444-777-333, all that type of stuff. For me, it doesn't be like that. It'd be like explicit and straight to the point.
Well, I think like the angel numbers are like something set apart. I think those are like different. I don't think that's really, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's
honestly
what the numbers thing is. I've heard people talk about numbers, not a lot, but I think like it's more like, oh, I'm praying for like, what day should I get married on, or what day should I do this, and then like he'll like make a number like come up repetitively. So something like that, but not like angel numbers where it's like 1111 or 444 and stuff like that. But yeah. I know sometimes it's like kind of like that, like repetitive things. Like if God will show me something more than once, or like somebody, like different people will say the same thing, I'm like, okay, I hear you. Heard you.
Got it.
Yep, got it. And also I've been praying for to like not be worried about men, or like be fearful about June and stuff like that. Child, I ain't got no time to be worried about no man now. I'm trying to run a business. I gotta get this up and dinner. Like I'm like, boy, if you don't go sit down, I got this going on. Like, I don't have time for you. Like I'm so far gone from that now. Like God answered that prayer quick. He said, "Oh, for sure. I'm gonna give you something that's gonna fill up your time, baby. Trust
I got
me."
you.
Right.
Are we?
So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I would say like I mentioned earlier, definitely through conversations that I have with people, like when they confirm something that I was thinking about or bring up, it doesn't even have to be an opportunity, but they bring up that thought I had and I did not express it. I did not come to them with that. This could be a random person that I'm talking to. I'm just like, oh, okay. And I'll really be like, wow, that's crazy. Like I was just da-da-da-da-da. But it's really, God, like, I brought this person to you. We're having this conversation for a reason. I know you was thinking about this, or you were worried about this, you were stressed out about this. So, I'm giving you something through somebody else. I think that's a major way that he definitely communicates with me, is through other people, which is why I value a lot of the conversations that I do have with folks. And I'm pretty big on like, everything happens for a reason. Like that's my motto. Everything happens for a reason. This conversation, why this was brought up, why this person chose to do this, why I'm seeing it from this way, all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think a major way is definitely through other people in the conversations I have with other people. I will also say another way when he shows up often is when I take a step back. Like if I'm just doing too much, it's a lot going on, I'm just like, bro, relax. Or if I'm doing a lot and like the other day I missed my exit, then I missed the next exit. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe God telling me, to slow down, or, he want me to take the scenic route. Maybe I need to look at this view a little bit longer as I'm driving. I need to soak it in. Maybe the next song that's finna play on my playlist is finna hit different. I need to, channel them emotions, or, whatever. Definitely through that as well, taking a step back from situations and slowing down, or getting rerouted from the direction that I thought I was going. Those don't really like give me kind of like, it's not in that situation, I don't really hear him giving me an answer to maybe something I'm stressing about, but it's definitely reassurance that, you know, I'm not in control. And so
Mhm.
I constantly need those reminders. And so when things like that do happen, it's just a reminder to me, like, you're not in control. So, you know, you need to focus more on God and, you know, what he has planned for you. Figure that out. What are you really supposed to be doing? This little thing is tiny compared to, you know, what you think you got going on. So yeah, it's like
Mhm.
those are the reminders. But when I talk with other people, have those conversations, you know, some conversations ain't, that's not God. But the ones that hit, I'm like, okay, he's trying to talk to me and reassure me about, some stuff that I was thinking about.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, hearing from God has been like, it was one of those things where it was like, I don't think I hear God the way everybody else hears him. Like, I've never heard a voice like in my head. I've never, like Jada said, never had the audible, voice happen.
Same.
I've learned over the years that it's more of like a feeling.
Yeah.
I can feel it rather than like I'm hearing it. Perfect example is like, I used to kind of like doubt like what I was feeling was God. Like, is it God or is it just me? Because sometimes like I remember I would be praying and I'll be like, God, give me an answer. And then it would be like, I'd have the answer in my head and I'm like, did I just talk to myself or was that actually God? But there was this one situation where when I got like the answer, it was like, no, do not do this. I felt it. And I didn't listen. I didn't listen. And I found out afterwards why I should have listened. It completely changed everything for me, like completely changed my life in a bad way. And it put me in a place that God never intended for me to go at all. And so for me, that was confirmation. Like when I feel this feeling, like there's never, ever going to be a doubt in my mind again that this is God telling me something, or this is like, the Holy Spirit trying to guide my intuition or whatever the case may be. So I feel like for me, the way that I've learned how God speaks to me is through that one specific moment in my life where I was like, okay, like this was it. And I'm never going to make this mistake again. And one of the ways more recently I think I've figured out is since I've been living by myself, I be talking to myself. And sometimes when I'm like talking to myself to like process things, more recently just thinking about like, I don't know, like what can I give y'all an example of? Okay, some things about my childhood, for example, like just kind of processing things. Like I was watching a TV show where I was looking at a daughter's like relationship with her mother and her parents and stuff. And so I was looking at that and it kind of got me thinking about like the dynamics that I have with like my parents. And so when I was, talking through this in my mind and I was making all these connections, I had a moment where I said something and I was like, that was like, I know I didn't come up with that. Like I couldn't have came up with that. It was just too good. It was too good. It was like a validating moment. It was enlightening. It like really kind of just, it was like one of those moments where it was like, no, that wasn't me. That was definitely God. So I feel like those are the two ways when I'm talking to myself and processing through things, I'm like, oh, that was too good. Yeah, that was God. Let me write that down so I can revisit that or I can think about that later. Or like when I have that feeling, or if I'm hearing from somebody else and they say something and I have that feeling like, okay, that's the confirmation that I needed.
Right. I feel like mine is very similar to yours, Cam. And a lot of times it's not like an audible voice. And if it is me, it's like it's my voice in my head. So it is a little confusing. You're like, did I think that? Like, is that just me and my desires? Or like, God, you really trying to tell me something? And like, yeah, like I'll be talking out loud. I usually talk out loud when I'm, just alone. And he'll definitely just like answer me in my head. So I'm talking out loud, but then like the answer comes as in my head as my voice. And I'm like, oh, that's it. That's it. And I'm like, yes. And it's really cool. Or just like movies and you get connections and revelations or songs. And it's just like you're saying, like things just connect and they just like start clicking, like that clicking thing. Like, yeah, it's not me. Like how did I go left, circle around the way, come back, and then make it all pop? Like, nah, I didn't do that. So, yeah, it really is like that. I'm trying to think about like what, like an example of when God like really spoke. Oh yeah, when I was on the phone with that guy and he told me like, you're trying to be in control. Like, stop it. If you want to make a commit, like, if you're trying to commit to anybody, you have to commit to me first. Like, I was just like thinking of, like, I wasn't thinking about God in that moment like that. I was just like, dang, like, how come I can't love nobody? And then it just came to my mind. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, that was not me. That was not me. And that's how I know, like, I'm like, God is telling me right now, like, it's like he'll download stuff to your brain as like a thought or like an idea or like a memory or something or a vision. Cause he's has spoken to me through visions, like I was telling y'all about, speaking to the ladies about my testimony. And I'm like, okay, you gave me this vision twice. And so that is also a really cool way. The visions aren't as often, but it really is something where it's like you have to spend more time with God to know when he is talking to you. And my motivation to continue to do that is just I don't want to miss on anything that you got for me, like, at all. And I also want to be obedient because I want you to use me to help answer other people's prayers or their questions or something like that. So like if I'm getting things from in confirmation from other people, I want to be able to be used to do that for other people as well. And I actually did have that that situation happen. Like, I called somebody for a completely different reason, and I ended up starting to tell my testimony to them, and they were like, bro, like, you don't even believe that. You won't believe the half of what just happened yesterday, and now you're talking about this today. Like, that's crazy, bro. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm glad. And I'm like, I'm seeing that this conversation is a completely different purpose, and I was meant to tell you and call you and speak to you even when I probably shouldn't have been, but I did. So it was like there's things that's like that where I'm like, God used me and I want to be obedient, and I ask him, like, please help me with my obedience, because I ask, like, use me for your will, like, I want to be used. And I just want to continue to do your works and keep this kingdom going. So yeah, like, hearing from God is very important, and I'm trying to really, like, continue to listen to that and not just brush it off. Like, when he tells me to fast, I need to fast, because lately he's been, like, trying to tell me to fast, and I'm like, no, but, like, I got that food in there. I don't want it to spoil though, so I need to eat that. And I'm like, Jada,
put it in the freezer.
Right? Like, come on. If that is your excuse, so yeah, y'all. But God is good. He's faithful
all the time.
He is.
Yeah,
A1.
I think he definitely be using y'all for sure. For me, cause y'all be speaking, y'all be spitting, and I'm just like, yes, I needed that. For sure. So know that he be using y'all for sure.
Y'all are so pretty today, all days. But y'all, I was looking at everyone. I was like, oh.
Thanks, girl.
So cute. And with
too.
the scarf action, Desinae with the swoops. Come on, Jay, skin glowing. Like, what?
Wow. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, I've been working on it.
I've been drinking my water. But yes, if listeners, if y'all have any questions, share scriptures with us that
please,
that jump out at y'all and really connect to this episode. Please do that, because we love that. Share all the resources, podcasts and Instagram pages or whatever have you, organizations, communities, like, share it. Because we love to shout it out on our page and get that to the rest of the listeners as well. Y'all been doing good. Y'all been real strong. Four deepers, the quad potters, the potty. I'm still trying to figure out which one is it, but I guess it's all of them. So y'all got it.
Black people, we can't ever just have one nickname,
right?
Several.
Not at all.
Yes, and I'm just so glad that we can have these conversations. I feel like I say that all the time, but it's facts. Like, we be needing that, and I just hope, like, that people, if they don't have that space, personally or with people they know, like, they can have that space here, even if if our conversation sparks an idea in their head. That's better than nothing at all. So yeah. I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
This is great. My mind is racing. Of course, after every episode we have, my mind be racing. But I wrote a lot of stuff down. I wrote a lot of stuff down from this meeting. I gave me some good notes.
Come on, notes.
Right, a lot of stuff to take away, a lot of stuff to think about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
What would y'all rate this episode?
I'll give it a 3. 3D.
I give it a 3 as well.
Yeah, 3D.
Yeah.
3D.
Yeah.
Because God himself is just deep. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
All ratings 3 deep and plus. We don't accept nothing else.
Right.
Mhm,
At this point,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
We can't go
But no, yeah, I definitely give it a 3. This is great.
I also kind of feel led to say, like, let us know how we can pray for y'all, because we asked each other that. And so, of course, extending it to y'all, like, let us know how we could, pray for anybody out there. Send us a DM or, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Let us know something.
Yeah, because we definitely have. I have a prayer request thing, and I do pray for y'all like dang near every day. So I'm like, Lord, please help Jay with her. Da, 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 da. Like, God, Cam is going through finals right now. No, like Cam, I've been praying for you with the finals. Please. Listen, Desinae, I've been praying for you with the project management. I'm like, bring some good ideas to her head, please, God.
Yeah. And I think it's perfect timing that you, have this opportunity that you're doing, even, given that, in our last episode, it was kind of like a downer about the interview and stuff, but, you're still doing great things. And I love that you had that conversation with them too, about you telling them what you're doing and them being like real supportive and proud, because we be needing those moments of like people being like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's dope. Because we get so caught up in our day to day. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I do. Like, but it's like,
it's
no,
regular.
like that's what you do. Like you be doing
Exactly.
the thing. And so you really receiving that is just, I love that you had that moment. Because we all deserve that, regardless of what we're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was like, it was just such a great day. It was just such a great experience, and just around so many people who are literally in the spot that I wanted to be in. Like, I honestly felt like very privileged. Like, my mentor, she's like the executive, so like she ran the entire building. Everybody that was there worked under her and was just telling me every time she introduced me to somebody, was just telling me how great she is and all this stuff. And I just felt like privileged. Like, I felt privileged to be there and to be like experiencing that. It was like a field trip, like a professional field trip, all expenses paid. Like, we went to lunch and they paid for everything. Like, and just all these people are just like where I wanted to be, like either project managers or higher, literally. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, and I'm just sitting at the same table as y'all, like having this conversation with y'all. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. That's really like how it felt. Like, the fact that opportunity, even like, it wasn't like, oh, I applied for this internship or I applied for this, it was like, wow, like somebody, like this opportunity came to me and I just jumped at it. And it was honestly like, had so many realizations about, my career and my path and the real ins and outs and like what it's really about. And yeah, it was so great. Honestly, it was so great. So yeah.
And there's more where that came from. It's not those opportunities either.
Yes.
God looking like,
and everybody
listen.
wanted my and everybody is telling Liz like, because like I was like the youngest one there. Mostly Liz is Black, of course, that's my mentor. But then everybody else is like, white, Hispanic, I want to say even Asian. And they, all like, oh well, Liz can give you my contact and let's stay in touch and and I've got contacts like all these people that I didn't have before, that are our project managers. And I actually, went and did my rounds this morning. Let me reach out. So they got my contact too, if an opportunity, passes them and they think of me, type of thing. So I got so much out of that. I got so much out of that experience. It was like everything.
Oh, yeah. A day can really make a difference, for real.
It really can.
Girl. So I'm saying I had to go up in there and, do what I had to do.
Take up your space.
I was just about to say that.
And that's exactly what I did. Oh my God. And I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Like, cause Liz kind of put me on the spot. Like, she made me, like, yeah, Desinae, why don't you go ahead and tell them about the podcast? Tell them about BRB. I'm like, yeah, like, Okay. Going up the table, I'm nervous, like I'm telling them. And I feel like I did like a great job explaining myself. You know, everybody was like very impressed. And it was just like, yeah, like it's, you know, reassurance that I'm doing something right. And yeah, you know, I got some stuff going on. Yeah, sometimes I really do kind of downplay all the stuff that I do have going on because of one thing might not be going the way that I want it to go right now. But no, I need not do that. Yeah. And that was definitely some reassurance that I needed. It was so great. It was just great. It was so great.
Come on, period. We got you. We got Cam on 100 with the root canal. Come on, Jay over there making the connections at the global thingy,
the World Beat Center.
Yeah,
they used to have parties. They used to have parties at the World Beat Center. When she said that, I said, "Whoa, I haven't heard that name in years." It just took me back. World Beat Center, we used to go up.
That's funny. I've never even heard of it. At least I don't think.
You have to visit. Like, I highly recommend. Even
it's a cool place.
If nothing's going on that day, just visit the space. Like, the lady who owns it, her name is Makeda, and she's been running it for years, probably like 30 or 40 years. She's 86 years old. I might be wrong about the exact age. She was there at the event. I mean, she be doing her thing, but like when you were there, like you literally see like how years of work has been put into this place. She has a garden, bro. The garden there, like it's just so beautiful. Like it's just so much love and intention around everything. I love it. So yeah, if you can visit, please do. But yeah.
Another successful one.
Yeah, this was great. This was great. Yeah. And y'all don't forget, we're gonna say it every time. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, subscribe. Like if you're here, like, why are you not subscribed yet? And on social media,
hello,
please like okay. But also if you're listening on Spotify, please feel free to rate the episode and like and listen. And I think at this point, if you listen to our episodes, you can give us a rating as well. So please feel free to do that. And yeah, and on our social media accounts, interact. Like we don't bite. And it's 4 of us, it's not just one of us. So like, you know, if you want a certain perspective, be like, hey, Cam, what's up? Like, you know, you talked about this. You know, just talk to us. It's just us.
Right.
Engaged.
That's funny.
But yeah, y'all have been showing a lot of love regardless. So thank you.
Love y'all.
And also go back and catch up on the episodes because this is a full story. This is a story. Okay, this is a continuous story. So like you want to hear about all the check-ins and just see how far we come. You know, how far we came. Yeah, there you go.
And we only got 2 more episodes left in the season, y'all. Only 2 more.
No, we got 3. I think it's 3.
This is 7.
This is 7. This is wait.
Oh 8, yeah, 9, this 10. Is 7.
Oh, this 8, is 7. 10.
Oh, so 8, 9, 10.
I mean, Desinae, like, yeah, this is 7.
It's time
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, we got 8, 9. I'm like, we got 9.
Right. Math major sitting on the car like,
Look, it's late. It's late where me and Cam are.
Disregard that. Late. But next episode, I'm gonna repeat that statement. Y'all gonna have to act like you didn't hear me say it today.
Yeah.
Yes,
we're on to the end of season 1, which is wild. We only post every other week, so that's literally like what?
The consistency is crazy.
3+ months. That's wild. But we're gonna let y'all go. We're gonna let y'all go because we could be here forever. So.
Right.
And we'll.
Right. I'm still gonna have a conversation after this, but
that part.
Thanks y'all for everything. Love y'all.
Thanks.